All right, so there's been a lot said about, Dirk being cooked and really negative things happening for Dirk, but we did see Dirk's multi-million dollar, they saying billion-dollar lawyers actually doing cross-examination. And I'm not going to lie to you, they were putting in a good shift. When Brian Steele was up there, he was clapping back at the main detective, and he brought up some very interesting things. He kind of gave us a little taste of what's probably going to come as time goes on. He basically brought up some very interesting points and kind of trashed the credibility of the detectives when it came to actually recording conversations with these alleged cooperators. They said you spoke to cooperators that are going to testify at this trial during the investigation, right? Including Jam. He said yes. They said you were present with Jam for 12 different interviews personally. He said, well, I don't know the amount of times, but it was quite a few. They said Jam was interviewed over 30 times, right? And the guy was like, possibly. And they said Jam is in confinement. They take notes. Do they record the meetings? They said, well, how come Jam only had 3 recorded meetings? So they're sitting down with him 30 times, only recording 3 of them. Now that kind of looked bad. Brian Steele was kind of putting in work on the detective at this point. They also went on to say that Keith Jones was doing interviews. They said that this detective, you were present 5 times for interviews with Keith Jones, yes. And they said, but only 1 was recorded. And he said, possibly. And again, this was probably Dirk's finest hour over the last few days. Dirk's been kind of letting the prosecution do their thing, but Brian Steele took that stand and he was putting in work. I'm not going to lie, he was looking good. This was the strongest I feel like we've seen Dirk since that severance hearing. So in addition to that, they also brought up Vonnie. They said Vonnie was interviewed in your presence, that specific detective, 10 times. And they said none of those were recorded. And the detective admitted it. And then Brian Steele started grilling him, saying, do you know why a meeting with a cooperator might not be recorded? Like, why might that happen? And he was like, I can't explain it to you. Even the detective, he was like, I typically record stuff. But, I don't know why we didn't record those. They basically seemed to say that the prosecutors wanted to have the strategy of not recording these interviews. I don't know if they wanted to get them comfortable. We're hearing that a handwritten note by Jam is being presented. But I'll be honest with you, Brian Steele was doing a great job. There's a lot of people out here kind of hating on me, saying that I'm being biased, but I'm here to tell you Brian Steele, when he was grilling that detective, was doing an amazing job. That was the best we've seen Dirk and his team looking in a few days, okay? So I would say that was a small W. I don't know where it's going to lead from here, but I would say that the prosecution have had their time, and now the defense are clapping back, and Brian Steele about to show the world why he really making those millions.